Those are the kind of things that just bring me so much joy, that these women can trust me and that they feel so comfortable with me. And I love that I have that presence. I have that thing that makes them comfortable, you know?
Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Overstock Dixie. You can go like and follow their Instagram. There's new items that pop up on there every day, multiple times a day. Anything from furniture to tools, electronics, pretty much anything you're looking for. Hey guys, welcome back to the Derick Leg Podcast. We are back in the vault today, episode 93. Our guest today is here local in St. George. I met her when we were middle school, high school, probably. Her family had, she has siblings that were my siblings' age, or I guess she was my siblings' age, and then back and forth, right? So it's kind of like you grow up together knowing everyone's siblings. So this is Kacee Payne. How's it going, Kacee?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
This is going to be a fun episode. I hope I can do justice what we came to talk about today. Like you and Mallory both mentioned, it's going to be interesting to get a male's perspective on this, right?
It is, yeah.
But that's what I like doing. That's what the podcast is about. It's about me growing as well, me learning about new things and bringing in topics that I don't know anything about. And this is one of them. So Kacee does Keek Boudoir.
Yep. Boudoir.
Boudoir. I nailed it. All right. I haven't know how to say that word till about 45 minutes ago. So she's built this brand in Southern Utah. She started 4.5 years ago. And I mean, I think you're killing it. Like even just what we've talked about, I'm extremely impressed about what you're putting together and how you're doing it. So I'll kind of let you take it away. Maybe just explain a little bit of the background, how you got into it, and then we'll just kick it off.
Okay. I have Keek Boudoir. It's photography. I've been a photographer for 15 years, right? Yeah, 15 years. And I
started when you were 3 years old, huh? That's really good.
Yeah, I wish. I did wedding photography, portrait photography, all that. And it was back in 2018. I was on the verge of quitting photography altogether. I was just burnt out. I wasn't enjoying it at all. And I was hired on to do a boudoir calendar. And it was a calendar for Southern Utah women. And so it was all sorts of women. It wasn't models. It wasn't just models. It was single women, moms, everything. And we shot in 2 days, and I believe it was 14 women altogether, just in case some of them didn't work out. And when I would send them their images, the response I got from them was so much more rewarding than anything I had ever done before. It was, oh my gosh, I can't believe I look like that. That's not me. I have struggled with my self-love and my self-confidence, and this changed everything for me. And it changed everything for me. So after that, I said to my husband, this is what I need to be doing. This is it. And so I just dove in and haven't looked back. And it's been incredible because I've focused it on self-love to women and learning to love your body, learning to gain more confidence and accepting your body for how it is. Because there's a lot of women who have been through a lot and women who have had children, and our bodies change when you have kids, and it's learning to accept how our bodies have changed. And it's pretty incredible what it's done for these women. And so I really wanted to get out there and get women to love themselves.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So when you started doing it, what was the first thing that kind of changed your mind about it? Was there anything other than like, wow, this is great, I've never looked at myself like this? What was the thing that you hadn't thought about that was a win for you or for the clients? I guess that's what you call them, clients.
Yeah, clients.
I was gonna say models, but clients.
Clients. Because I guess I should have said throughout my 15 years, I had taken Boudoir for close family and friends, but it wasn't like it was when I did this calendar for these women. It changed something in me and made me realize that I have a talent. I have something I need to share with this community, with the world. I don't know. I have the ability to make these women see themselves through my eyes, and it can change them. And the fact that I have the ability to change somebody's perspective of themselves is incredible. I am able, I guess it's like when we were talking earlier, everybody looks at themselves in the mirror differently. You know, like you look at yourself in the mirror and you see your flaws. When I look at you, I don't see your flaws. And just like everyone else and all these clients of mine, they get to see themselves through my eyes, and it changes how they look at themselves.
Yeah, like you're the biggest critic, right?
Yes.
And so everyone's talking bad to themselves. And I think it's more, it's kind of like when we were younger, it was magazines and stuff that would put everyone down. I think more women would put women down. And then social media has just amplified it. Mm-hmm. So I love when you had said that earlier and you repeated it again, it's through your eyes. And so let's cross that. So that was something we had talked about. Like I had one friend that they did a couples. And so I knew that was a thing. Yeah. But I had always thought of it just being women. Have you or anyone that you know that do this, have guys ever done this?
Yep. I've had guys, I've had couples, women. I mean, predominantly it's women, but I've had a lot of couples, which is really fun too. It's a fun way for these couples to reconnect. And I've had men, just single men.
Yeah.
And the first man that I had, the first male, it was different because I'd never done it. And I set boundaries. I told him, you can't go nude. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
And he was totally okay with that. And it ended up being amazing. And he loved it. So, yeah.
That's what I had always thought when I saw my first friend post a couple ones. And I think it was right after they were married. And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah. And I'm guilty of this as well. But like there in the beginning, when I first saw it a few times, I was like, is that even okay? Like, can you even have pictures like that? Like the stigma around it, right?
Yes.
Yes. And so I'm hoping even with this and the podcast, it's like, hey guys, like open up your mind a little bit to it, Yep. At least be open to it, and let's listen to the podcast and see what you have to say. And then you can decide.
Yes.
Right. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
When I first started, I was nervous because this area is very conservative, predominantly LDS, Mormon, whatever we're called.
Yeah, religious. Yeah.
And
LDS, Mormon, whatever you're called.
It's Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. There's so many names.
Yeah.
Now. It's very frowned upon in the conservative because they think it's porn.
Yeah.
And it is not porn. My husband's family was not happy that I was doing it. And one of the family members had messaged me telling me I should be ashamed of myself. I have boys. I should think of them. And it's porn. And I confidently said to her, absolutely not. I'm not ashamed at all. This is not porn. Porn is totally different. Porn is exploiting sexual exploitation. Is that the word? This isn't that. And I told her, if you, I can't even remember because
it's been a minute.
It's been a hot minute, like almost 5 years ago. But I told her that I'll never be ashamed of doing it. And I have changed so many women's lives. And she has no idea what she's talking about.
Right.
It's not porn.
Well, and it's like, cool, man, have your opinion, but I know what these women are saying to me after they get their photos back, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, you can have your opinion about it, even though it's probably wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here doing the work, and I can see what this is doing for people.
Yeah.
I mean, what's some of the feedback you've gotten, and maybe kind of go into it and how it makes you feel to be able to do that? And like you said, I love that, like, this is your calling.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you love doing.
Yes. It's not a job for me. It's my passion. I love this so much, and I've put my heart and soul into it, into creating an experience for these women that's life-changing, and that'll make them look at themselves in a whole new light and open up their eyes to how beautiful and how amazing they really are. I've been lucky enough to photograph women from all across the board. Sexual abuse survivors, spousal abuse, cancer survivors, eating disorder, eating disorder, I don't
Recoverers?
know. Right? How do you... Yeah. Single moms, single women, weight loss transformation, weight gain transformation. It's been just every type of person. And I have been able to help all of these women. I had one woman come to me who she was in an abusive relationship. And after her session, she filed for divorce. And the fact that I was able to help her get to that, to make her realize that she was strong enough to do that, it's mind-blowing at the impact that I have on these people. You know, I have had women who were abused sexually that needed this to help them look at themselves in a whole new light, because they would just look at themselves with shame. And they were able to open up and see that they are beautiful and that they weren't this abuse victim anymore. They were a survivor, and that they can move on. And it's so unreal that this simple thing that I do, taking pictures of women, can be so impactful for them and change their lives completely, you know?
Yeah, we're the hardest on ourselves, so I could understand that. And like I alluded to a little earlier, I think women are harder on themselves than men are. And so it's not a side of it I'd ever thought of. You know, being a guy looking at it, well, I mean, I'm not like scrolling it, but I mean, like being aware that it exists, right? It was kind of my thought. It was more like, okay, this is for the husband. This is for the boyfriend. They're like somehow talking their wives into doing this, right? And so that was the first thing when we sat down that you like opened my eyes to, is like, yeah, that maybe that's how it started, or maybe that's how the conversation started, but it ends up just being a byproduct.
Yeah.
And the girl gets to look at themselves. Well, they've done studies on this where they take just a headshot of someone and they Photoshop little things about it and give them 10 pictures back and have them pick out the original picture. And I'm pretty sure it's like 10 out of 10. They can't get it right.
Yeah.
And whether that's they think they're better looking than they are or they're worse looking than they are, right? Like you don't even know what you look like.
Yeah.
And I think for women, it's more they're just hard on themselves. Mm-hmm. There's a whole industry. I mean, beauty is an industry, yeah. Right? That's why it exists.
Yes.
But for you to be able to just or back to what I was saying. So for them to come in and be like, "Hey, I'm doing this for my husband," the calendar thing, whatever it is, anniversary, birthday, and then them walk out of there with their head held high, and then and we'll talk about your process. But when they come back and get their reveal, I think is what you were calling it, and they see the photos and they see the products, and I can't imagine like the amount of endorphins or the confidence that is just blowing them up.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I had an exact percentage. It's probably pretty close to 99% of my clients, when they see their images, every single one has said, "That's not me. That is not me." And I always laugh and say, "That is you."
Yeah.
I didn't manipulate anything. I didn't Photoshop anything. The only things I Photoshop out are bruises, cuts, scrapes, blemishes. That's all. That's all you in that picture. That is you. And it's the only way I can describe it to people is they see themselves through my eyes. Because when you look at yourself, you just see your flaws. In the mirror, looking at yourself in a photo is just so different than looking at yourself in a mirror. And I have the ability to open up their eyes. It's like glasses, I guess. I don't know.
But it's one thing that you had said too about, I don't Photoshop stretch marks.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's like, and I was like, "Oh, really?" And then I immediately flipped and was like, "Well, that's kind of the point." Like that you have them. That's the point.
Yeah. Because I like I said, I get women from all across the board. Stretch marks are a big thing that most all women have, whether it's from growing, weight gain, pregnancy, whatever. Most all women have stretch marks, and we need to accept that, and we need to accept the stretch marks. And I tell them stretch marks are like, especially if you were a mom and you got stretch marks, that's a beautiful thing. You created life. Not everybody can do that. There's so many women that would give anything to have a stretch mark from being able to create life, and they can't. So I'm not going to take that away. I'm not going to Photoshop that out, because stretch marks, they're a mark on you. And if I Photoshop that stuff out, if you're taking it to your husband, he's going to know that's not you.
Wait a second. And how do you bring that up as a husband? Hey, where are all your stretch marks at?
There was a story about a boudoir photographer. The client requested to have all of her stretch marks removed. I think she asked her to make her a little skinnier, and she did, and the client loved it. She gave the husband the book, and he went to the photographer and said, "This isn't my wife. I want the original pictures. I want it before that, because this isn't my wife." And I thought that was beautiful, because he loved her the way she was.
Right.
And that's what I want my clients. I want them to love themselves the way they are. I'm not going to take out your stretch marks or whatever. What
you're critical of.
Yeah. I'm going to make you look at that and say, "Wow, I did that. That's a part of me. That's beautiful."
So how do you put the stigma to bed? Is it just make it more aware? Will there always be a stigma?
I'm sure. Yeah. Because there's people out there who frown upon it. I think there'll always be a stigma. It's just making people more aware of that this isn't about sexuality. This is about loving yourself. That's why
you do it.
Yeah, that's why I do it. It's mainly for self-confidence, self-love.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so say someone wants to sign up with you. What's the process? Kind of walk us through this.
The process. So my website, they go to my website and inquire through there. When they inquire, they will automatically get a welcome guide from me. The welcome guide goes over the whole process, kind of touches base on pricing a little bit. And then there's a link for a phone consultation. I like to talk to them on the phone before. I like to hear why they want to do it. And it's a good way for them to get to know me, because this is an incredibly vulnerable thing they're doing. they're not just going to go to some random person that they don't know. I mean, some people do, I guess. But I want them to connect with me. I want them to feel comfortable with me because it's so vulnerable, and I acknowledge that it's so vulnerable. So we have a phone consultation. I ask them why. If they've ever done it before, that's usually the first thing I ask them. And then I ask them why they're doing it. And some people, it's for a gift, whether it be anniversary, wedding, birthday, what have you. Or some women say it's just for them. They want to do it for them. And then we talk a little bit, try to get to know them. And I kind of go through all my pricing with that. And then if they book, we figure out a date, we set a date, and then the day of their session, they come, I guess, the process. So I guess the main spiel that I tell them on the phone. So I have a booking fee, and that fee includes a prep guide that goes over everything they need to do to prepare for their session, because that's a lot of people. What would I do to prepare for this? And it goes into detail as far as moisturizer, shaving, waxing, tanning, all that. They get a lingerie guide if they want to bring their own lingerie, or they get access to my client closet. And I have a client closet that's huge, full of lingerie, and it ranges in sizes extra small to 4XL. So I try to be as size inclusive as I can be. And then they get hair and makeup done. So they don't have to worry about hair and makeup. They get to go to my girls who are amazing.
And are they doing that off site, or are they?
Yeah. So they do it out of their studio.
Okay.
Or their salon, and they do it together at the same time usually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And it's usually about an hour. And then they come to me, and we have a 60 to 90 minute photo session, and I will guide and pose them the whole time, because that's a huge thing. Potential clients don't want to book because I'm not a model. I don't know how to do this. That's what I'm here for. I will, yeah, I will guide you and pose you the whole time. I will help manipulate your legs or whatever I need to do to get that perfect picture. And then after we're done, we break for 2 hours, and I go through and I edit the best of the best. And I lightly airbrush the skin just to make it smooth and even. And like I said, I'll remove any blemishes, bruises, cuts, scrapes, those kind of things. And then when I'm done editing, they come back. So I have it down to about 2 hours. They come back at 2 hours, and we have their reveal session, and they get to see their images that same day. And that's a huge benefit when you come to me, because you get to see them that day. Most people, take pictures, you get them in a couple weeks. I think it's more beneficial for them because they are already feeling like $100. They feel like a goddess. That's like my biggest thing is I'm going to make you feel like a goddess. You feel beautiful, and being able to see your images that day when you're in that headspace helps a lot. And so they're able to pick out their products and images that they want at that reveal session. And then that's kind of
the spiel.
Yeah.
Well, then you have a bunch of different products as well. It's not just a photo.
Yeah.
It's not a USB drive. And that's why I kind of thought was cool too, is you can mix the whole thing up.
Yep.
And you had mentioned you can get like full pictures done. And so that was going to be my next question is so after that, is this under the bed in a shoebox kind of thing, or, and I don't know, that's yeah. Are you putting it in your safe at home?
My husband's is in our safe.
Or, I'm sure that some women display them. And so,
yeah. So my products, I have luxury boudoir albums that are albums that lay flat, that are thick pages, and and the best way to describe them is they're luxury. You can choose all sorts of, I have probably this thick of cover options for your albums. Leather, velvet, suede, distressed leather, all sorts of things. Yeah. And so there's these albums. I have heirloom boxes that you can put prints in. I have wall art to display. I do have some clients that choose to display their photos. Some women choose not to, and that's totally fine. They can, if they choose a collection, they can, instead of getting wall art, they can add more images to their albums. And let's see what else. There's leather envelopes. There's all sorts of products.
Okay. And you're walking through the whole thing with them. You have some demos. You have...
Yep. I have samples of everything at my office where we have their reveal session. So they're able to look at all the albums, boxes, wall art, everything to help them decide what they want. And then once they decide, if they get an album, I create a layout for them. And then once they approve it, I send it in to my lab, and they're usually here within a week. And then they get their products and they're happy as could be.
Have you, has anyone ever been, and when I say anyone, I mean like a spouse or whoever they're maybe doing it for, has there ever been anyone upset? I mean, I can't imagine there is, but...
I personally haven't ever had anybody, if anything, I've had a spouse or a boyfriend be upset when a client has given me permission to post their images on social media.
Got you.
And I've had to go remove those, and which that's another thing that potential clients are super nervous about is, if I do this session, they're going to share my pictures all over. No. I will not. I have it's called an image release contract that I give to all my clients after they see their images. And it has 4 options: a full release, a select release where they get to choose what images, an anonymous release, which is no headshots. And if they have tattoos, I can remove those tattoos, or no release. And I respect whatever option you choose. I will not post images if you don't want me to. And I've had some clients women say, yes, share them. And then a partner will get upset and no.
Yeah.
No, I don't want those out there. So I'll remove those respectfully. Even if they sign the release, I'll remove them because
it's more for them.
Yeah.
Well, and that's another thing that we kind of touched on was, like, you don't need marketing at this point. Yeah. Like, you've done everything. You have people coming from all over the nation to do it with you.
Yeah.
And so marketing's not really, so to you, like, sure, there's some benefit by sharing it, having people see it, top of mind awareness, like the marketing side, there's benefit for you. But at the same time, like, you're not out there soliciting people to come do this all the time. Right. And so like, I want to say for you, because I don't know how other people do it, and I haven't talked to him about it. You're the first person I've ever talked to that does this. So I would say for you, like, the trust has to be there, and it is, and the contract's there. I mean, that's the binding contract, right? Legally, there's a contract in place now, but yeah, I would imagine the trust would be a big thing, especially, I don't know, like, I would think that more girls would be timid than not to do it in the beginning. And so to have the thought of, I don't want all this all over the internet because the photographer wants to market herself, right? And so that's the point I'm trying to get across, is you don't need to. Yeah.
Instagram is my main space. And it's helpful when clients let me share their images, because seeing women that are similar to themselves is what gets them into it. If they see like a plus size girl on there, they think, oh, I'm plus size. She looks beautiful. I can do this. That helps change them. And that's the thing. I mean, yeah, you don't have to market, but I have to constantly post to help these women who are wanting to do it. I have so many women who message me all the time. I want to do this so bad, but, you know, whatever reasons they have. And I have women who have followed me from the beginning that it took them 4 years to book. And they saw one image and one little thing that I posted changed them into getting that confidence to book. And that's a hard thing, is that initial booking is really hard for a lot of these clients. But once they do, they see how laid back I am, and they know that it's really not as scary as it can be. Because I really have had clients come in and they're shaking, physically shaking because they're so nervous, and I have to like hold them, look at them. Okay, take a deep breath. And then by the end of their sessions, they were feeling it. They were posing themselves, and it's we're kind of going off, but it's crazy how it can change them just in their session too.
Well, that's what I think is interesting. What you just said, and I think that's the big point of this is sure, like it's an income, it's a business. I mean, this is what you do for your quote unquote job, even though you love it, right? Yeah. But you're posting those things for other girls to have the confidence. So even after we said like, well, you're not posting them to gain income, to sell more photos, you're doing it to hopefully that there's another girl that sees that, gains the confidence to come in and do it.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, as you were saying that, I'm like, well, it's still not even about you. Like, you're still trying to put it out there to have people, you know, build self-confidence for themselves.
Yeah. And I mean, I have to do things, you know, Instagram's great. You have to make all these great reels and stuff. Oh, I that's the hard part, is having to, you know, I don't have anybody. I don't have a social media person. It's all me.
Yeah.
And so I'm having to make all these stupid reels, but I'm doing it for these potential clients to see me. They're seeing who I am by getting on my stories and talking to them and doing all these silly reels or whatever I have to do to show them that I am me, and they're able to feel comfortable with me. So I had a client, let's see, was it 2 weeks ago? She had been following me for a while. She had listened to the one podcast I had done a while ago. So she started following me then, and she wanted to book with me, but she lived up north. And she had asked for recommendations from me for women photographers up there. So I gave her a few, and she had said, they don't compare to you. And so she booked with me. She came down, and she had sent me a message the other day, and it said, can I read her message?
It's up to you. Yeah. Yeah. So when we have people come in, I'm always like, I leave my phone on the desk in case I have to pull something up or remind myself, or even Google things. We've done that before. So yeah, you can 100% have your phone up.
Pull it up. I didn't even think of this. And just her message, because she had just received, so since she lived up north, I had the product that she ordered mailed directly to her, and she received it, and she sent me a video of it, and I just had said, oh, I'm so happy you loved it, because she went on, I just love these. She was showing me all the I love this one. I love that. And I said, thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting me. It makes me so happy. And she said, thank you for being so trustworthy. Ever since I started following you, it just felt right and comfortable. I've never thought I could be so comfortable in front of someone to take the pictures you did, but you have a presence about you that put me at ease real quick. And by the end, I was even more comfortable and having fun, which you can tell by some of the pictures she was doing. And she said, I can't thank you enough. I can't stop looking at my images. And I just, those are the kind of things that just bring me so much joy, that these women can trust me and that they feel so comfortable with me. And I love that I have that presence. I have that thing that makes them comfortable, you know?
Yeah. Whether it's talent or God-given or whatever it is, right? Well, and like just talking already, like we can say, I haven't seen you in 12 years. And even then, like I'd seen you a few times. I wouldn't even say we really knew each other, but we could sit down at a table and have a conversation, and you're that person for sure.
Like we've known each other forever.
Yeah. Like I'm aware of you. I guess that's the way to say it. Something else I had thought of, and you're probably doing this, but when you're having a lot of those videos, I've seen a few, I'm sure I've seen some of you, where you're not posting pictures of the girls. It's a video of you taking pictures, but you're not seeing the girl, or I wouldn't call them models. Is that okay? Because I'm like girls, client, but it's not just girls. It could be guys. The clients. So
like behind the scenes.
Right.
So.
And so that's cool too. Cause then it's like, hey, this isn't as crazy as you think. Like it's just me here. Oh, you look great. Oh, move that. Let me fix your hair. Right. Type of thing.
Yeah. And they walk in. I have music playing. I have a boudoir playlist that I go through. It's really full of like 90s music, you know, the good stuff, Outkast, TLC, that kind of stuff. But I play music, so they're coming in and they just got hair and makeup done, but most of them are super nervous. And so they come in and, hey, how are you? Okay, let's see, what did you bring? If you brought stuff, or, okay, these are all your outfits. I usually pull, I'll ask them their sizes, and then I pull outfits from my closet for them. And I guess the thing about my closet, my client closet full of stuff, is I have been doing this for a while. So I know what looks good and what doesn't. And when I purchased all of these outfits, like I purchased them knowing that they would look good on everyone. So I will pull their outfits for them, and then they'll look and go through them and try stuff on. And then when they have their outfits on, they come out and I'll say, okay, spin around, let's see. And I'll adjust straps. I'll make sure nothing's twisted, nothing's showing, and we just jump into it.
Start going.
I mean, we jump into a simpler pose. I start with like the same pose on everyone, and it's super simple, and we kind of jump into things, and they get more comfortable as time goes on. And they're hyping them up the whole time. I'll look at their pictures and oh my gosh, this looks so amazing. And, you know, I have to be that person, but I'm not lying, or I would not say, oh my gosh, this looks good if it didn't, you know.
You're not just floating their boat.
Yeah.
Like you're.
Yeah. And I feel like, I really hope these women don't think I'm just doing that, because I'm not. I love what I do so much. And when I show them their sneak peeks, like through my camera, pretend I have a camera in my hand. I'm like,
for everyone on audio right now and not video, she's acting like.
My hands. I'll show them the picture on the back of the camera, and it's a hard thing because you want to be able to show all these women, but sometimes it's hard because they start crying. I've had many women start crying. I'm like, stop it.
Yeah. No more sneak peeks for you.
Stop crying. You're going to mess up your makeup. Stop. And that's just the back of the camera, you know? So when they come and see the pictures on the big screen, that's even better for them. Kind of went off.
No, you're good. But I mean, that's what you can kind of come to expect. It's easy at first, kind of get comfortable, maybe pull down some walls.
Yeah.
And then you can go as far as you want.
Yeah.
And the client can go as far as they want.
Yes. They can go full nude if they want.
Yeah. And that's totally up to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell them if they want to, it's very tasteful. It's very tasteful. It's kind of more implied I guess, like not direct. It's kind of, I have a very tasteful way of going about
tasteful.
it.
That's the way to say it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool of what you do for your business, but you're still a mom, you're still a wife, you're still, and so like what feedback do you have from your husband, your kids? I mean, you have kids at the house. How does all that intertwine?
Yeah. So my husband is the most supportive person there. He is the most supportive person of me because he has seen how impactful I have been for these women. He's witnessed it. He would never not let me do this, like he's super supportive. My kids, they know what I do. They know the gist of what I do. And I think it'll be good for them. I have 4 kids. I have a 14-year-old son, a 10-year-old son, 7-year-old girl, 7-month-old girl. And it's funny because a lot of my clients will say, oh my gosh, your girls are going to have the best self-confidence ever. And I laugh because my daughter's got too much self-confidence.
You're like, we need to knock her down a couple pegs.
Yeah. She loves looking at herself in the mirror and she loves getting pictures done. So it's funny, but it's great because I'm teaching my boys that women, like I hope as they get older in the teenage years, they're not looking at women they're looking at women in a different light, That's what I hope I can teach them. But my family is super supportive of me and they know what I'm doing. They see the impact that I've made for 500 different women is what we came up with.
So crazy. What's the next step with this? Is it, you know what I mean? I mean, you're 4.5 years in. Is it getting other photographers? Is it growing a business, scaling the business, or is it put on cruise control and just keep doing what you're doing?
No, I mean, I would love to expand eventually. Right now, I love how it is. I love doing it myself. I don't know if I could ever trust anyone else to do it. There are a lot of photographers, friends of mine across the country who do it and they have assistants, and one day that would be great. Right now, it's kind of more just finding a studio space that I love, that I can make my own. And that's kind of there. I have lots of goals. I would love to create my own lingerie line. That's one of them. There's a lot of things that go on in this brain of mine.
What else? You'll share? I'm not a goal guy. I've always just had like things in my mind that I knew I wanted to accomplish. And I have a couple coaches that like I'm part of coaching groups. I wouldn't say I have like a coach, but I'm part of coaching like Arate Syndicate's the one I throw on here a lot. It's Ed Milet, Andy Frisella. I'm actually in the morning, I'm flying out to St. Louis to go to one of their events. And so goals have been a different thing for me this year. I actually like typed them up and laminated them and I have them in different places. And so I don't know, I'd like to hear some of your goals if you're okay with that.
I mean, one of my biggest goals is the lingerie line. I would love to create a line that is beautiful. There's lots of lingerie out there, but more so here, it's hard to find stuff, but it's more so lingerie that's flattering for women. And I've been doing this a while. I know what things look good, so that's
or you wouldn't have been doing it for a while.
Yeah. 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 I mean, all here in this town, we have Victoria's Secret. You could go, like Spencer's has some stuff, but it's not that great. It's kind of cheap. But that's a big goal. And a lingerie line that is about the self-love. And it has all types of different women, you know, small women, plus size, moms, pregnant women, everything. And that's the biggest.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool to have a space where maybe your studio is there and then you have a showroom of lingerie.
And there's a couple
do people do that?
Photographers of friends across the country that have like similar setup.
Does it work out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So there's no like 5-year goal to get that done.
Not right now.
I mean, I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
I know.
I'm just curious.
I just got to talk to the right people. I don't even know how to go about doing that.
Sure.
And I have a gal that I worked with earlier on. When I first started doing this, she started her own lingerie line. So I really need to call her up and ask her.
What are the steps?
Yeah.
Who's your contact in China?
Right?
That's what it seems like anymore. Like, everything's so outsourced to China. Blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird. My mom and I were talking a few different things. This is totally off subject. We weren't talking about this. And we're trying to come up with a product that has to do with safes. It's not out yet. We're still trying to figure it out. So I'm not going to bring it up any more than that. And I started thinking like, well, I don't know where to buy the little bottles. I don't know where to buy this product. I don't know where to buy that chemical spray. I don't know. And she's like, oh, let me pull up, can't even think of what it's called now. It's like the Chinese website where you have to order 10,000 things.
Like AliExpress?
Yeah, like Alibaba stuff, right? And so she brings that up and I'm like, what is this? And she starts telling me about it. And like, she takes these little classes that has to do with retail and different things. And so she's like, oh, I learned about this in one of my classes. And so she pulls, and people are probably gonna be like, yeah, no shit, Derick. This was news to me, man. And so she pulls it up and it's like, here's the product. You can get samples. And then after samples, you can buy, there's minimum orders. And then after that, you kind of form the relationship with someone and most likely get a contact there. And then now you have a contact in China that's going around. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, is this how this stuff works? And I'm like just this little retail guy in St. George, Utah, I haven't even put my mind that far.
Yeah.
And the market I'm in, like American made is like the big thing, right?
Yes.
Like American made steel, American made safes, American labor. And so I'm like, wait, so like everybody's doing this? And there are safe brands that have like I call them knockoff Chinese brands, even though it's like still their brand that they just have imported from China. But it just makes me laugh. I'm like, I didn't know that everyone was doing this and it was that easy. Like you just meet, Mr. Chow over there and you just start hammering out product.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was in a marketing meetup. I guess you'd like a mastermind marketing meetup, and the Eric Gubler puts on. I've talked about it on here before, and the girl that spoke does the microblading.
Oh yeah.
And she, actually, I'm trying to get her on, so this might be kind of putting her on the spot right here, but I'm trying to get her on the podcast. But now they're doing product, and they're sourcing stuff out of China because they don't build them in the U.S. like the blades, I guess. And so she has like a source in China now that's building these products that she's selling online. So yeah, there's tons of options out there to get product made. I mean, obviously it happens. I just never really thought about how it works. Anyway, I think that kind of wraps us up.
Yeah.
Episode 93,
Sheesh.
Kacee Payne.
Say it again.
Kacee Payne?
No.
What? Boudoir?
Oh, you did it.
I've got it written right here. And I spelled it like BOO. And so I keep on like, if you see me move my hand, I'm like re-looking at it. Give me your website, give me your Instagram, all that.
Websites, keekboudoir.com. Simple, Keek, Boudoir. Instagram's Keek Boudoir. simple.
Yeah, just at.
Yep, at Keek Boudoir.
And that's a nickname. That's where that comes from.
Yes, Keek is my nickname. My husband gave it to me. It's not, my family doesn't call me Keek, but
He does.
yeah, he does, and friends do. So
Awesome.
and lots of clients call me Keek, and that's fine.
They do now.
Because yeah, I love it. I mean, it's my nickname. It's part of me.
Okay, well, hopefully you guys have gained, some knowledge from this, maybe a little confidence to reach out. Well, and that's another thing too I was going to touch on is they can reach out on the website and get the phone call, and it's cost them nothing, right?
Yeah, it's a free phone consultation. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, even if you're somewhat interested, maybe don't know how to run it past your husband or
Yep.
like at least make the phone call, get it started.
Yeah.
And if it's something that you decide's not for you, then it's not for you.
Yeah.
But at least have that conversation.
Yeah, you can go look on Instagram. Instagram's where my biggest presence is, and there's lots of my face on there, on Reels and stuff. But I have highlight bubbles that kind of go over a lot of things. My client closet is on my highlight bubbles, and you can see if you like me or not.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like maybe we're not a fit, and that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
See, we're in business together now.
Yes.
All right, guys, episode 93. If you're still with us, I appreciate you. Please go like, share, comment, interact with us. We'll tag Kacee in all the clips that we do with her and on the videos. So you'll be able to have access to her, to message her, and you can schedule your free phone call on our website. And I guess that's it. See you guys next week.